Good afternoon, grade 12s, and welcome to this lesson. This lesson, once again, is a continuation of the lesson from the 24th of July. It's the last piece. Okay, today is the 20th of July, but this is just a continuation of that lesson, and it's the last piece, which then talks about another comprehension, and it's also got two more texts, which are shorter than the comprehension. And then lastly, we have got the analysis of a cartoon. I hope you enjoy this lesson, and let's see. So in this worksheet or in this lesson, the focus is on vocabulary development, right? So we've got synonyms and antonyms, punctuation, sentence structure, tone, persuasive techniques, propaganda, interpretation of cartoons, body language, facial expression, satire, and irony. Those are the things that we're going to be looking at, and those are the things that we're going to be testing. Included are also several post-reading activities, okay, such as answering questions, drawing conclusions, expressing opinions, and developing critical language awareness, which we'll definitely upload for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy them. Right, so for CAPS, the focus is on reading and viewing. Yes, the appreciation of the pictures that, or the texts that we are reading and that we're viewing and that we're engaging with, because that's another important factor that we need to, to put into consideration when engaging with texts overall. So here is the lesson once again. So we've got comprehension, we'll have a short text, we'll have another short text, and then we'll have a cartoon analysis. Here you go. The comprehension, Syrian conflict. You may take a screenshot of this. You can read it on your own, but I'm going to leave it here for a while. I will move over to the next slide, this comprehension. Okay, let's engage. Let's engage the text. I think that would have taken about 10 minutes, let's say 10 minutes, maybe 9 minutes of reading of that text. It's always very good to engage with a comprehension like this. Okay, I know that I usually read it for you, but I wanted you to read it for yourself this time. Yeah, let's go. Refer to paragraph 1. Okay, so what is A? Provide a synonym for punctive as and an antonym for polarized. Oh, sorry, it's punitive. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, provide a synonym for punitive. Why am I lost this? Oh, there they are. Provide a synonym for punitive and an antonym for polarized. Shoo. Yes. What's the answer? Punishing and united. So if you go back to paragraph 1, you'll see that the words punishing okay, polarized. It's also in paragraph 1, as you can see there. There's polarized there. There's punitive there. And an antonym, remember, is the opposite word, an opposite word or a word of an opposite meaning. The ant in antonym stands for anti or anti or against, which means the opposite of or the complete opposite of, okay? So the synonym for punitive would be punishing or punishable, okay? Punitive measures or punishable measures or punishing, lovely. And then for polarized would be united. Remember polar, the word polar means on opposite ends, on two complete opposite ends. Lovely. B, what is the function of the inverted commas? What is the function of the inverted commas? Remember, inverted commas are these things here, okay? We call them quotation marks or inverted commas, okay? The reason they're called inverted commas is that they invert some other meaning or a particular way a message is conveyed. Yeah, so that's the reason we call them inverted commas, but they're also called quotation marks. What is the function of inverted commas? Let's go back and see. See, the attempt to launch a limited punitive attack. A limited punitive attack. What is the function there? Yes. The inverted commas indicate that someone is being quoted. Okay, so students could also argue that it is a euphemism from which the writer would want to distance himself. Okay, that's also good because remember, remember what a euphemism is, right? A euphemism is a sort of understatement or a decent way, rather, let me say that, a decent way of putting something that is quite abrupt, in a decent way. So instead of saying that somebody died, you say that they passed away. So that's another reason. Lovely. So refer to paragraph 3. Number 2 says refer to paragraph 3. Paragraph 3 reads, let's go. The big question confronting the world on the catastrophic Syrian conflict is to war or not to war. The polarization that we saw this week was markedly different from the usual West against the rest or right against left dichotomy. Let's go. The expression to war, not to war is an adaptation of a well-known Shakespearean quotation. What is the original expression? Okay, I think we all know what the original expression would be. It would be to be or not to be from Hamlet. There you go. To be or not to be, that is the question. Which is 'tis nobler to suffer the slings of outrageous fortune, or to take up arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep no more. Lovely. Okay. So yeah, possibly a bonus mark could be awarded to students who know that it is Hamlet, but yeah, sometimes, yeah, that's what we would be debating, but it is definitely to be or not to be. Notice how Hamlet here is underlined. The reason it is underlined is that it's a title of a play or of a work of literature. Okay, it's a title of a play. Usually titles of plays or books, songs, poems, whatever, we usually either underline them, write them in bold, or write them in italics. The reason it's underlined here, I think, is that this test would have been a written test, of course, from you guys, or or an exercise. So definitely we would expect you to underline this. Okay, so don't forget to do this even in your exams if you are referring to a particular work of art, or a particular book that you are reading. Okay. B says, explain why the polarization referred to was markedly different. Look how that's put in inverted commas, was markedly different from the usual West against the rest divide. Explain why the polarization referred to was markedly different from the usual West against the rest divide. Let's go. It says here, the opposition to the war has come not only from non-Western countries, but also from within the US and the UK governments themselves. The opposition to the war has come not only from non-Western countries, but also from within the US and UK governments themselves. Let's go. Number 3. Suggest what you think the writer means when he warns that Obama should be careful not to be a prisoner of his own red line. Suggest what you think the writer means when he warns that Obama should be careful not to be a prisoner of his own red line. Once again, can you see there's a 2-mark question there? See the answer? The answer says, he could be trapped by threats he has made in the past. He could be trapped by threats he has made in the past and feel bound to honor them. He could therefore be a reluctant participant in a war. He could therefore be a reluctant participant in a war. Okay. Number 4. Explain how the sentence structure in paragraph 8 helps to convey the writer's tone. Remember sentence structure? Sentence structure, let's go, paragraph 8. Those in the trigger-happy camp in Washington and London must be isolated. We have been here before. We were lied to. Not again. We need evidence, not propaganda and doctored or flawed intelligence. We need fact-based decisions to underpin any attack on Syria. The UN should take the lead, not Obama or Cameron. That is not their job. Explain how the sentence structure in paragraph 8 helps convey the writer's tone. I'll leave this for a minute here so that you can see, look at the way the sentences are written. Look at the length of the sentences as well. Look at the use of the sentences, and also look at the punctuation marks used in those sentences. Okay, I'll give you a minute just to have a look. Okay, let's go. What was the question? Explain how the sentence structure in paragraph 8 helps to convey the writer's tone. Look at that. Remember, tone is a very important thing. Tone, atmosphere, attitude, same WhatsApp group. All right, let's go. So it says here, lovely, a number of short, simple sentences, like, we have been here before, we were lied to, right? And sentence fragments, lovely. Can you see that? This is a fragment of a sentence. This is not a full sentence, not again. So it's not a full sentence, but it's got effect. And the effect of it is just to convey that message that, look, it's not going to happen again. Not on my watch, not happening again, forget it. Okay. And yeah, so a number of sentence fragments also have the effect of building up suspense and contributing to a strong, urgent tone. I want you to reread this paragraph. And while rereading this, reread it as a public speaker with that command. Because usually that command tries to achieve something. So those in the trigger happy camp in Washington and London must be isolated. We have been here before. We were lied to. Not again. We need evidence, not propaganda and doctored or flawed intelligence. We need fact-based decisions to underpin any attack on Syria. The UN should take the lead, not Obama or Cameron. That is not their job. The tone there is very, very commanding. It's quite demanding as well. Again, remember, it's the atmosphere of it. It's also the attitude that comes with it. Not again. We need fact-based decisions to underpin any attack on Syria. Okay. Okay. Number 5. In a well-expressed paragraph, argue whether or not you agree with the writer's point of view on whether or not Syria should be attacked by the US. In a well-expressed paragraph, argue. You need to argue. So remember, when you argue something, when you argue a point, you take a side, usually, right? So you'll say whether you agree or you don't agree. Okay. Okay. So you need to argue whether or not you agree with the writer's point of view on whether or not Syria should be attacked by the US. Okay. Quote from text 1 to support your answer. Let's see. Remember, again, this is what we call an open-ended question. So it varies. The answers will definitely vary. And remember, like I said before, the focus here is not on your I agree or I disagree or yes or no. It's not on that. The bigger focus, more than anything, is on how well you substantiate that answer. The better you substantiate the answer, the more you substantiate the answer, the better. Okay. And the better you substantiate the answer, the more marks for you. Okay. Sometimes, and especially because teachers are quite strict when it comes to this section in particular. Yeah. So yeah, students may argue either way. Can you see? You need to take a stand. You need to take, do I go yes? Do I go no? Okay. They might adopt the writer's point of view that global peace is what all the people of the world deserve, and therefore war should be avoided. Or they could also argue attacks for attacks on Syria, saying that the use of chemical weapons is a horror that should be punished by airstrikes. Depending, it doesn't really matter. Okay, you just need to take a stance. We clear, lovely. Let's move over to the next text. Okay, I'll give you like about 5 minutes to read through this. Okay. Okay, let's go. So we read the questions. Let's go. Text 2. Refer to paragraphs 4 and 5, right? Paragraphs 4 and 5. What rhetorical questions, or what rhetorical techniques rather, does John Kerry use to make his message persuasive? Remember, persuasive. What rhetorical techniques does he use to make his message persuasive? Let's go. Paragraph 5. That's say, yeah, 4 and 5. Each day that goes by, this case is even stronger. We know that the regime ordered this attack. We know they prepared for it. We know where the rockets came from. We know where they landed, he added on CNN. We know the damage that was done afterwards. We've seen the horrific scene all over the social media, and we have evidence of it in other ways, and we know that the regime later tried to cover up. Shoo, what are those techniques? The first one, of course, is the most obvious one in public speaking: repetition. Okay, because we're not hearing the text, we're reading it. One of the most important effects and one of the most effective ways of getting a message across in public speaking is something we call pause. Pause. Okay, but let's see what the answer says. He uses what? Yes, lovely. The personal pronoun we, right? Reinforcing through repetition of the same words. We know, we know, we know. Okay. Also, the use of emotive language to shock, right? Which is horrific scene. Again. So we've got the repetition there that I mentioned there, beautiful. But also this we, because it talks about relativity, a lot of relativity, because the personal pronoun is quite inclusive, that he's talking to people and people say, yes, we know. It's great. Okay, so once again, you've got the use of emotive language to shock, okay, or like you guys would say, to shooketh. Yeah. Okay, so what is this horrific scene that he talks of? Number 2, or B rather, 6b says, how do you think the writer of text 1 would respond to the assertions made by Kerry? Draw on the aspect of both texts to help you and explain your reasoning. Okay, he could say, this is the proof the world, he could say, this is the proof the world has been waiting for, right? He could definitely say that. However, he could also argue that nothing has changed, as it is the UN and not the US who should establish the truth behind the chemical weapons attack. You hear that? So he could just say that, right? Okay, let's go to text 7. So to text 3. Let's take screenshots, indulge yourself in the reading. Okay, let's go to the next. The questions. It says, the diction used by sources quoted in text 3 could be seen as examples of anti-American propaganda or anti-American propaganda. Yeah, okay. Find 2 examples of this and explain why these words or expressions might be regarded as propaganda by the US. So the answer here then would have been that the historic American retreat, okay, the historic American retreat, okay, could be perceived as untrue or as an exaggeration by Americans. They might say that Obama is simply delaying the strike and is not running away or retreating, as you would have it. The use of the word terrorism to describe military strikes by the US is emotive and has negative connotations. Can you see? We're asking you to that the diction used here could be seen as examples of anti-American propaganda. Okay, so once again, the use of the word terrorism to describe military strikes by the US is emotive and has negative connotations of murder and terror. Negative connotations of what? Of murder and terror. That is what the use of the word terrorism would mean. Okay. The US would probably want to use words like limited punitive attack, as in text 1. So the US would want to use words like limited punitive attack as in the first text. Okay. So please, for such questions, guys, we need your depth. Read widely. Can you see how this was a text 3 question, but there was a reference to text 1? And it's simple. It's simple to do that because you've got all these texts to refer to, especially because the question is quite wide. It's quite broad for you to engage with. Okay, let's check out text 4. I'll give you about another 3-4 minutes for this. Please remember, when you engage with a cartoon, it's not as simple as with a text, a written text rather. You need to look at everything. Look at everything and engage with everything. Everything that's there is there for a purpose and with a purpose, please. Okay, what do you see there now? Look at the detail. Can you see what's in bold and what's not in bold? I love Zapiro. As you can see, this was taken from the Sunday Times in 2013. I love Zapiro. He's such a good artist. Your mission is to send an unambiguous signal to the butcher al-Assad without causing actual regime change. Awkward for us, awkward for US. But can you see, again, I love the pun there. Or unwittingly aiding anti-Assad jihadists to strike for international justice, though with no UN mandate or proof from UN weapons inspectors, to hit military targets but avoid civilians. Chemical weapon stockpiles or comparisons with Iraq or Iraq, as they would say, or Afghanistan, to explode without igniting the Mideast tinderbox. Look at that there. Can you see? This, yeah, this craft here has got, it's got eyes there. It says here smart bomb, but no bomb that is that smart, right? Then you've got the USA. I mean, it should be, you know, a logo of some sort here. Lovely. This is what's written at the bottom right here. This is what's written here. And keep it quiet that the biggest ever chemical atrocity was our bombing Vietnam with Agent Orange. Can you see how this message is, it's concealed here? And this is like a literal conceal or literal hiding. I think that should be George W. Bush right there. Okay, can you see the ears? Again, caricature, very important. All right, let's go. Refer to text 4, paragraph. So text 4, the cartoon. A, identify and explain what the body language and facial expressions suggest about Obama and the military commander. Oh, okay, so that was Obama, not the military commander. Okay, so that's Barack Obama, guys. My bad. Okay, but it also makes sense, I think, given the text, definitely. About Obama and the military commander. Okay. Here it says, Obama is standing with his hands behind his back, which makes him look hesitant. His stance is stooped and he has a concerned expression. Can you see this? A concerned expression on his face, implying he is uncertain and worried, but finding it difficult to assert himself. The army commander has his chest puffed out. He is shouting and bellowing commands. His wide open mouth and dark glasses give him an air of authority. He seems to be in charge, unlike Obama, who's standing behind him. Again, that could, yeah, I think this could imply a lot of things, actually, given the fact that he's, you know, yeah, he's saying all of this here. Okay, explain the function of the brackets in this text. Look at that there, look at that there. What would the usual function of brackets be? The brackets are used twice to indicate an aside. Remember, an aside in literature, guys, an aside is a thought while doing something, or thought while saying something, right? It's an aside, which you would kind of say to yourself when, you know, while you're speaking to someone, lovely, you know, or a comment which is more reflective of the true story behind the bluster, as you can see that right here. Though with no UN mandate or proof from the UN weapons inspectors. As you can see that. So that's not what he would definitely have said out loud, right? Okay, and I said here again that, you know, note this pun here. Awkward for us, awkward for US. Yeah, okay. Point out 2 examples of irony in the cartoon and explain the irony. It is an irony to strike for international justice when there is no UN mandate or proof from the UN weapons inspectors. Yes, it's ironic because then you're striking, but you're striking for international justice. It's funny because you're striking, but for justice, but also at the same time, there is no mandate from the United Nations. There is no proof from the United Nations weapons inspectors. This is a contradiction that the cartoonist exposes. Okay, a further irony lies in the US's indignation when they themselves were guilty of the chemical warfare in the Vietnam War, right? As you can see here, it says bombing Vietnam with Agent Orange, right at the bottom there. Okay, again, it'll also depend on how widely read you are, how knowledgeable you are to some extent, in order to get full marks in this regard. And then D, do you think that this cartoon can be described as satire? Explained. Okay, this is satire as the cartoonist is mocking America's stance. Remember, the aim is to mock while correcting, while trying to correct, or while trying to expose something in order for that then to be corrected. Yes. Okay. So he's mocking America's stance on the proposed strikes against Syria, pointing out a truth that it is riddled with contradictions. Okay. This is borne out by the text on the bomb, smart bomb, but no bomb that is that smart. Okay, lovely. I hope you guys enjoyed that lesson. And do contact us if you have any concerns of any sort, or if you would like to have some extended activities and other opportunities. Thank you very, very, very much. I hope you guys enjoyed. Okay.